over the country in the last week, 2 weeks, children of church families have recently put on Christmas pageants that tell the story of the Nativity. We weren't able to do that live this year. Our production manager was under the weather, but we did do the slides and gave the kids, some of the kids a chance to dress up. And the cast of the characters may vary, but there are 3 individuals at the heart of the story. You've got Mary, you got Joseph, and you got the baby Jesus. And angels and shepherds, they can come and go in various quantities, depending on how many kids you have. And wise men show up bearing gifts. I remember a children's passage I had on the very first charge. Everyone had a job except for 4. And so that Christmas day, for that Christmas pageant, we had 4 wise men instead of 3. Just so everyone had a part. Okay? And there might be an assortment of barnyard animals, and there may even be an innkeeper. And of course, here in Glendale, in our pageant, there's always a star. And I still remember when the star was coming forward and tripped and fell that year. We had a falling star. Yet there's one individual from the biblical narrative that you're never going to see in a children's Christmas pageant. King Herod. He's just too mean and nasty for the Holy Night. In fact, in 30-some years of preaching, either as a lay speaker or as a pastor, this is the first time I've ever used this text. Honest. You know, it's common on Christmas Eve to read the story from Matthew about how the wise men came to Herod's court asking where they might find the child that's been born, the King of the Jews. And Herod, of course, was the real living King of the Jews at the time. But he's too crafty a politician to show his hand too soon. You know, there was intelligence to be gathered. And if these naive foreigners could be enlisted to work as spies to lead him to the King of the Jews, so much the better. Fortunately, the visitors from the east could see right through Herod's dubious hospitality. And they returned to their own country by another way. And that's where the Christmas Eve reading from Matthew typically ends, right there, with the 3 wise men sneaking off to home and leaving Herod to wander. But you know, it's only part 1 of the story. No one ever wants to read the second part of Christmas Eve, because the details are too horrific. Wise men dropping off baby presents is one thing, but what comes next is R-rated for intense violence. And it's not the sort of thing that little kids need to hear before heading home to leave milk and cookies out for Santa. You see, visions of sugar plums could be replaced by bloody nightmares. Herod's enraged to learn that the Magi have given him the slip, and so he sends soldiers out to commit an atrocity worthy of ISIS. They're to break into every Jewish home in the region around Bethlehem and pull every baby from the arms of their mothers. Cut their little throats. Herod, you see, at this point is a bitter old man. In the final year of his 41-year reign, he was fully capable of playing a role in such an atrocity. After murdering his wife and 2 sons, Herod named his eldest son as from a child from a completely different mother as the exclusive heir to the throne. But you see, Herod could never tolerate a rival. And he grew jealous of that latest crown prince. And he put him on trial for treason like the others and had him executed. The Roman emperor was so appalled by this that he refused to allow any of Herod's remaining sons to claim the title of king. Although 3 of them would eventually rule as tetrarchs, each governing 1/3 of Herod's kingdom, each reign. 33 years later, one of them, Herod Antipas, would look upon Jesus as he stood before him in chains, wearing a crown of thorns in his head. Can you doubt that this man was capable of dispatching soldiers to kill babies? He was a cruel and evil man. Jesus, of course, didn't escape that fate. An angel of the Lord came to Joseph in a dream, warning him to take his little family and flee to Egypt. Surely some of us, though, find it troubling. I do. That God sends an angel to rescue Jesus. But all those other little babies die. It's another facet of that thorny theological problem we face so often in this world. The problem of evil. The question of why a just and all-powerful God allows human suffering to take place. You know, there's no easy answer to that philosophical question. But King Herod does seem well suited to play the role of evil incarnate. So what's the takeaway from all of this? Should we reserve a place for Herod in next Christmas's Sunday school Christmas pageant? Relax. Herod doesn't belong in a children's Christmas play. That doesn't mean that you and I should forget about it entirely. Herod's important to the Christmas story because he helps us to remember what kind of world we live in and why we still need a Savior. Even if we all had a fine Christmas, there are plenty of neighbors on this planet whose lives are tainted with suffering. People for whom the least of their worries is whether or not they manage to get into the Christmas spirit. There's a young woman that comes to mind who 3 days out from Christmas Day broke into tears when Tanya handed her a food voucher to save her. And how many of you Christmas. Shed a tear for a loved one who's no longer here. Or for a family situation. What about the hordes of Syrian refugees? And a number of these refugees are Christians. And not just Christians, but members of some of the oldest churches in the world. They're wondering if they'll ever return to the land of their ancestors. And whether those ancient churches will ever again resound with Christmas hymns. What kind of a Christmas did they have this year? Then there are those afflicted with poverty right here in this land. That young woman who stopped that day for a food voucher, being one. Sure, lots of our neighbors had themselves a merry little Christmas. But a great many more find themselves far removed from the vision of perfection and peace portrayed on so many sparkling Christmas cards. Jesus didn't come into this world to bring us a midwinter festival of peace. Peace and contentment. He didn't come to bring that. He wasn't born into a placid Christmas card scene, but rather into the sort of world where families wander homeless and corrupt tyrants rule by murder and deceit. You can romanticize it all you want, sentimentalize it all you want. It was a rough place when Jesus was born. And we all live in places where tyrants still rule. And we have real economic, spiritual, emotional, physical, and relational problems. We do. We all need a Savior. Yes, we need to call people to help the least, the last, and the lost. But we also need to reach to those for whom Christmas is just another holiday as well. You see, Jesus didn't come to offer a respite from the world. He came to save. And as for us, his Christmas-weary disciples, we have a role as well in carrying out that mission, using the spiritual gifts that he's given us, along with whatever material resources we have at our disposal. You see, if we strive to keep heralding Christmas, maybe, just maybe, it'll be a little easier to remember that mission. Don't you think? Maybe if we strive to keep heralding there, maybe it'll be a little easier to remember that we're to use the spiritual gifts that God's given us, along with whatever resources we have at our disposal, to make Christ visible to the world. God's grace is sufficient for this new year ahead. And this morning we come to remember that grace as we share together in this holy meeting.